Hey guys, the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for October 3rd, 2024. We're going to be doing our Week 5 Fantasy Football Rundown. So feel free to submit any questions you have for fantasy or anything else. We'll get to it. Super chats and super stickers get first priority. As always, John Sanders, Slew, you guys have been so awesome with your contributions. And more recently, we had Andrew Z, Stuart Griffin, K. Meek and Eagle. Then before that, Kevin Kovac, Jern Buchanan. You guys have been so awesome with your help here because YouTube ads pay absolutely nothing. So it's the best way to support the show, keep us going. Super chat, super stickers. Also, you can go to the walterfootball.com merch store here and just buy one of these shirts. As you can see, our guest is wearing one of our shirts. So I usually point out that I'm wearing the shirts, but here we go. Kenny is wearing our money laundering shirt, which I've gotten the most compliments on. So you can buy this one.
Best shirt on the shop.
Yeah, it's right here, money laundering. You can get that and find out who your friends are, or some people may not know what that is, but you'll find out some of your friends, some of your foes. It's always good to know. So that'll help us out a lot if you go buy something here. Also on Amazon, it's my most recent book, Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people at Penn State. Also, how the 2020 MVP was stolen, which is a story that. Aaron Rodgers won the 2020 MVP, but Brett Favre actually tried to steal the MVP from him. So you can read all about that expose that I wrote. And otherwise, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. And Cassandra says, free the apron, free the shirt. Yeah, all our Butker t-shirts have been wiped out of the merch store. So there must be a cat lady working at the Zazzle website that doesn't like it very much. But without further ado, we are joined by Kenny from the Campus Fake, Kenny, and what were you going to say?
Wait, what? What happened with the Buckner shirts? What? I'm so confused.
So I had an apron that said Butker was right on it, and that got removed from the merch store. And at first I was like, oh, maybe they're not selling aprons anymore. But I also had another T-shirt that said Rodgers. So it looked like a Trump logo, Trump campaign logo. It said Rodgers, Butker, make football great again. It looked exactly like the Trump logo, except for those words, and that got removed as well. So, like I said, I think there's a cat lady at deciding what goes on the merch store and what doesn't. So, fortunately, all the Bucker stuff is gone.
What? I mean, is that offensive? But Buckner Rodgers is offensive, apparently. What?
Well, because of what he said, like as
but like
people tend to get upset. I actually lost one partnership just because of stuff I said about women voting a few weeks ago. Luckily, I just was able to substitute it very quickly. It didn't matter to me. But yeah, I actually told you the story. There's one website that canceled the deal on us because of that, and it's like you guys are like new to this. What I do on Twitter, I just troll people. Like today, I was saying that because a lot of people don't know about the tampons in men's bathrooms that Tim Waltz did. So one girl was going off about it. She's like, I don't understand why people are so upset at this. I was like, yeah, you know what? When me and my friends were 13, 14, and all of my guy friends, we all got our first period. We wish that there were tampons in our boys' bathroom. And so like, a lot of people were either laughing at it or confused. And so one guy was like, I was like, oh, some guys menstruate. I'm like, some? What do you mean some? All of them do. So this is what I do on Twitter, and like suddenly people are taking it seriously. I don't know. It's just like get a grip.
First of all, you're ridiculous. Let's make that clear. God have mercy. We're so absurd. Like the things in our country. I'm just like, at the end of the day, though, like. Isn't it America? Like, don't we believe in freedom of speech? Isn't it a thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, John Kerry was saying we need to take free speech away. He didn't say that verbatim, but he said like freedom of speech is like an obstacle to our to us ruling or something. He says something of that nature. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. That Stalin would be very proud of you right now, or Mao would be a fan,
Just shake my head. I just shake. That's it. That's my only. I have no response. I just shake my head and just okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Just
Sue says I know, and I know of a knucklehead that is friends with school shooters. I have not watched the debate yet. I watched like the first two questions. I was actually planning on watching it tonight as I worked on stuff. But I did hear that. I know what you're talking about. So it's pretty funny. I imagine that that Vance did better than Waltz. I don't know if you watched it or not.
JD Vance is the clear front runner for 2028. That's how good it was.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's what I thought of it.
Okay. Cool. Well, maybe we'll bet on that. All right. Let's get into our fantasy football recap. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask. We're gonna go game by game, and between answer questions. The first game, the Thursday night game, was Cowboys 20, Giants 15. Malik Neighbors continued to be insane. 12 catches, 115. Wasn't even like an easy matchup for him. You know, it was like it was against the Redskins, for example. Like this is not the toughest matchup, but still, he just went nuts. Unfortunately, he suffered a concussion. He didn't practice Wednesday, so that's something to look out for. Whether you plan on starting him or plan on drafting in best ball, there's still, by the way, best ball drafts going on. I just did one an hour ago. Devin Singletary really disappointed. I thought he was going to go over the rushing total, and he didn't. He struggled, and he missed practice Wednesday, so there's some concern that he has an injury. So maybe Tyrone Tracy, if you want to pick him up, I don't think that's the worst idea, especially if you have Singletary. But it looks like Rico Dowdle is the primary back for Dallas here, 11 carries compared to Elliott at 5. Lamb was great as usual. Ferguson, I think, is the tight end 3 right now per game. He's just doing very well. Like some of the other tight ends have disappointed. Other than that, I don't really have any takeaways here. What did you come away from with this game?
Malik Neighbors is awesome, as you said, and if the Cardinals could do it over again, would they take Malik Neighbors at that spot instead of Marvin Harrison Jr.? You think?
It's funny you ask that because Mike Jurecki, who was flawless with his Cardinals draft news up until, well, I don't know how to grade that precisely because like 3 weeks before the draft or 2 weeks before the draft, he said that the Cardinals were preferring Malik Neighbors over Martin Harrison Jr. And then he took that back like a week later. So like technically it wasn't correct, but then it was correct. So it sounded like the Cardinals were waffling like back and forth and didn't really know. So I imagine they would take Neighbors, I think. And Charlie Campbell reported that there were some teams that like Neighbors over Harrison anyway. So yeah, I think Neighbors is definitely the pick right
now. Yeah, I mean he's awesome. I did write down what was the I don't have it in front of me here. I thought I wrote it down, but the Zeke Elliott Rico Dowdle situation. Zoe, did you talk about Rico Dowdle already?
I briefly mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay. The first 2 weeks was pretty much a split job. This past week, it was the snaps were 42 for Rico Dowdle and 14 for Zeke Elliott. So Zeke Elliott, there was this other guy on the roster. I didn't even heard of him. I didn't write his name down, but who's their third running back now?
Deuce Vaughn.
No, there's a different guy that I hadn't
Lupke is their fullback. He's just a fullback.
Yeah, he had like 21 snaps in the game where he was on the I mean, like what is this 1995 where you bringing fullbacks back to the game?
Larry self-centers. Let's go.
But Zeke and Rico had the same amount of carries or close to it, and so I don't know what to make of the running game. And I think I just keep thinking to myself, they're all useless at this point. And CeeDee Lamb was almost useless. He had one big play, which is great. He saves with the touchdown. It's great, but like this offense is kind of broken right now. And so Dak is having like the total Blake Bortles, 20 circa 2013 or 2014. What was the year that Blake Bortles? Maybe it was later.
2014, yeah.
2014, where Blake Bortles was like the number 4 fantasy quarterback, but like in real NFL, he was terrible. Dak is pretty much having that kind of year right now.
Yeah.
Where like he's playing terrible, they fall behind, and then he throws like crazy to try to catch up, and he ends up looking great in the box score. I guess we'll take it, right? I mean, if you're a Dak owner, you love it. It's great, but it's you don't know how long that can continue. At the end of the day, if you're playing terrible, inevitably the stats usually follow, unless your name is Blake Bortles, and I guess it doesn't. But and everyone thinks you're actually good when you're not. So I don't know what to do with that. If you're an owner of CeeDee Lamb, I don't know. Do you disagree? I think I'd be looking to sell high on CD if I could right now.
I still think he's going to be productive. He's still going to have some big plays. Like you said, he didn't do much outside of the one big play, but he does make big plays. So I think he's still fine. If you were to redo the draft right now, I think Saquon Barkley would be the top pick. Let me just ask you this: which receiver would you take number one overall right now? If you had to take a receiver first, would it be Jefferson or Chase, or because it wouldn't be Lamb anymore, right?
No, it would not be. And it wasn't Lamb for me actually over the summer.
Yeah.
I was saying Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson above. I would say the Tyreek Hill take is not great right now. Doesn't look great. With two out.
It's not his fault though,
Yeah, exactly. I think. Knowing what I know now, it's Nico Collins.
Yeah,
he's the number one wide receiver. Nico Collins is. I thought he was good player. What we've seen from him. I guess we can get to him later, but of the big guys, I was Tyreek, Justin Jefferson were my 1-2, and I actually was willing to make a case for Jamar Chase above CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb just plays so much out of the slot, and it's hard to make a living on the slot. He's done it. He's been great, but I don't know. I don't like the idea that I don't want my number one receiver on my fantasy squad being a slot guy. It just makes me nervous. Maybe it shouldn't. The NFL's so different now. I still have a little bit of a 1992 lens, I guess.
Yeah, different league now. Ginger Designer asking PPR pick 2: Cooper, Metcalf, Godwin, Ayuk, Shakir. I think easily Metcalf, Godwin, right? I mean, Cooper has great potential, but he's dropped a lot of passes. This matchup this week is so easy. I still think I'd go in order. I think I'd go Metcalf, Godwin, Cooper, Ayuk, Shakir.
Oh my gosh, Brandon, you put a disaster. I guess we'll talk about him in a minute too. But
no.
I think you're probably right, which is just remarkable to think about. Usually, we've played 4 games now in the season. This is the time of year where you have to abandon all preconceived notions coming in. Really by weeks 2 or 3 you can, but at this point, Ayuk, he looked a little better this past week, but you have to now believe your eyes and believe what we're actually seeing and not go off of what we thought in August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, PPR picks are Kamara, Stevenson, Brian Robinson Jr. I think in order I'd go Kamara, Robinson, and then Stevenson.
That's pretty easy, actually. Yeah. Stevenson's distant from the other two in my mind right now.
Yeah, and then just make sure Robinson plays because he didn't practice today, but that just could be Wednesday rest, and then he flex from one of those. I think Cooper pretty easily. Singletary's averaging the same RPC as Barkley did last year. Interesting. I thought before this game, I thought Singletary was playing well, but he had a rough game against Dallas. Update yards per carry for Kenny of running backs with 40+ attempts. Dobbins 6.1, Henry and Barkley 6, Hubbard 5.4, Gibbs 5.3. Dobbins still the league's leader in yards per carry after contact. So do you know who the worst starter in for yards per contact?
Yards per carry after contact?
Yeah, YPCAC. Yeah.
The worst has got to be. Let me guess. The worst would be.
It was a hint. It was a guy drafted pretty highly, very highly, second round maybe.
Bryce Hall.
No, Bryce Hall's not that bad. Same division. Yeah.
Oh, James Cook.
No, other guy.
No, it's not Stevenson. Devon Achane.
Devon Achane, yeah, dead last.
Devon Achane. They don't. I don't know what's going on with that team. They're a disaster right now, and they're not using it properly.
No.
Anyway, so crazy.
Mike McDaniel is just a disaster. I said this yesterday. I've never seen a coach have deer in the headlights look like he does in the 2 minutes drill. He just like stare like really. It looks like a deer like in the middle of the road, just staring into the field, just not knowing what to do in a 2-minute drill. It is the worst. I don't understand what's going on with him because I thought he was a good coach, but we just we we ran about that yesterday with Evan. Free Michael Pittman. Please tell Richardson is out this week. Yeah, Flack. Yeah, suddenly Pittman does well when Richardson gets hurt. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason there.
Yeah. And then Matthias says I would take Lamb number one in redrafts. Interesting over. I'm surprised, Matthias, you would take Jefferson. Best value. Look at last year. Same thing will happen. Receiver one. Ryan asking start two flex half PPR. Dell, Sutton, Chase Brown, Rico Doodle. Dell's going to play this week, so I think he bounces back. Just make sure he's not limited all week. Sutton's catching passes, but he's not scoring touchdowns. It's like complete opposite of last year. Chase Brown's inconsistent, and I think Doodle's going to get a higher workload. I think I'd have people. I still think I'd go Dell and Sutton, but it's not like
I would go Dell and Brown. I think I'm willing to roll the dice with Brown this week.
Okay,
those are my options. Rico Dowdle sucks. That's the bottom line. So I just don't trust him. Sutton, he's okay. He's fine, but the offense still isn't good enough to trust anyone in my starting lineup. So Chase Brown looked great this past week, and I just can't help but wonder, do the coaches finally – Chase Brown is clearly better than Zach Moss. It's so obvious. I can see it from my freaking IKEA couch, okay? How can these coaches not see? I just never understand coaches that have a player they don't – I don't know. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. The bottom line is I wonder if finally they're going to see it, and this is the game where, they turn the tables on – or they turn the page on Mr. Zach Moss.
There you go, Brown, 6.3 yards per carry. Yeah, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon when he runs. Like he's so explosive. So yeah, I agree. I think Brown clearly the better running back. All right, so Colts 27, Steelers 24. The Colts were up larger than that, but we touched on this when Slew contacted or commented about Pittman. Flacco much more accurate than Richardson. Which I guess that surprised no one. So as long as Flacco's playing, Pittman and Downs are on the table. If it's Richardson, I feel like Alec Pierce is your guy. It's kind of crazy how different that is. Jonathan Taylor picked up an ankle injury. It sounds like he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, if not more. So Trey Sermon is Trey Sermon you can pick up. I picked him up in one of my leagues for 10% fab, just because I'm in one. I'm 1-3 in that league. I'm the second highest scorer. 1-3, so I need some wins. And then Justin Fields had a great fantasy day, not as great in real life because he had a horrible fumble. Pickens had one of the weirdest fumbles ever. Like he was trying to extend for the first down, even though he's like 8 yards short of the first down. I don't know what he was thinking. You'll like this. Did you hear what the Colts player said about Najee Harris?
That he sucks?
It's close. They called him soft.
That hurts.
This was supposed to be a good matchup for him. 13 carries, 19 yards. It's just as a football player, like the last thing you want to be called is soft, right? So not good. So what are your takeaways here?
You mentioned a couple about Justin Fields. I actually thought there was a couple of plays in this game where he actually looked like there was some progress here. There's one particular play, second quarter, I think it was, where he's running to his left, and it looks like he's about to take off. Justin Fields normally would take off there, run for 7 or 8 yards, but he looks like he's going to run, but he stops right before the line of scrimmage, and he throws it to George Pickens for like a, 9 or 10 yard gain, first down. Doesn't like I watched it and I thought, oh, that's real maturity there. Like there's evolution. Like he's learning to play. I think he's learning to play the position. He just has it. Looks like he clearly has been coached well, and so I think there's hope for Justin Fields long term. I don't know. Does that translate to fantasy success all year? I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm a little bit confident, a little bit bullish on Fields' long term prospects. And the problem is that right now this offense they're not. It's clearly in the game plan. Pittsburgh wants to win games. 12 to 10. They just want to score by field goals and safeties apparently. And so, okay, let me give you a statistic that you're going to appreciate.
Okay.
I'm going to give you 8 names and I want you to tell me how many touchdowns they have collectively between the 8 of them. Ready?
This year?
This year,
Okay.
through 4 games.
Okay.
Receiving touchdowns: Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, George Pickens, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews. All 8 of those guys combined. How many touchdowns do they have this year?
Well, I know a few of them have 0, so I'm gonna go the Dean Faber quote, 0.0. Is that all right?
If I were to tell you, if I were to say, if you take all the touchdowns those 8 guys have caught this year, do they have collectively do they have more or less receiving touchdowns than Jared Goff?
Wow, that's a good way to put it.
The answer is 0.0. Jared Goff has more receiving touchdowns this year than those 8 players combined through 4 games.
How's that possible?
Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when I saw this. I'm like, I just can't. I think Debo has a rushing touchdown, so maybe that's not totally, but anyway, I thought you would appreciate that. George Pickens is a phenomenal player, but they don't get into the red zone and they don't look to him much. And so it's really, I hate seeing players that are talented wasted. And I think George Pickens right now, we're seeing some of his best seasons totally wasted right now.
Yeah, can you imagine him on a team with like an elite quarterback like
Joe
Burrow, Josh Allen, Mahomes? You know, I feel like he would be receiver 1 territory. He's so talented.
It's a bummer. It's just a total bummer to me that this is where we're at.
Yeah, for sure. I was saying Richardson practiced on a limited basis today. They had him run 100 quarterback draws in a row. Yeah, that was wild. Like he left the game with an injury. He came back, first play, designed quarterback draw, and then he gets hurt, and he just doesn't even go to the blue 10. He just leaves the game. I don't understand. I think the Colts have a good coaching staff. That was kind of a misstep, though.
Anthony Richardson, I know this is only his 8th or 9th game, and I recognize that like he played very little in college, and he's a project, right? But like he's just absolutely terrible right now. I mean, he's absolutely terrible, and they don't know how to use him, and they're putting him in harm's way. He makes terrible decisions. He's a freak athlete and rocket arm, and that's all great and good, but like this is football, not shot put. This is football, not track and field. And like, what the heck is going on there? I mean, what is his real prospects? I don't think you can trust him at all. And if he's in the lineup, it's hard to trust any of the offensive weapons in Indianapolis. So I don't know. Joe Flacco is an upgrade, which is he should not be an upgrade, but he is.
Yeah, I said this yesterday on the Pick Show. I like the Colts if Flacco plays. If it's Richardson, I think I'd like the Jaguars. So I agree. Although to be fair, Richardson's only played 5 full games in the NFL. So I think that he could develop. He reminds me of sort of like Josh Allen in his rookie year, where like he made a lot of mistakes, but like you could see some greatness. Like week 1, he made some incredible passes. But then again, he makes some boneheaded mistakes, and you got to think that like maybe with some great coaching, you can develop into a great quarterback one day. But I think he's pretty far away from that right now. So.
I mean, part of the reason why he's only played 5 full games is because of his style of play.
Yeah.
That I don't, he invites a lot of contact, and man, I'm telling you, this guy, like, I don't think he's going to make it. Like, he can't survive in the NFL playing like this. This is not going to work.
Is the announcers in his very first game, week 1 last year against the Jaguars? They said in the fourth quarter, they're like, Richardson cannot survive like this. And then, no joke, the next play he got hurt and had to leave the game. So yeah, I totally agree. You're right. Randy asking, is Tampa plus 1.5 and with part of 2-team teaser a good bet? I already bet both. Yeah, I like Tampa on the teaser up to 7.5. Not sure with whom exactly. It might do like 2 or 3 in an attempt to middle. So stay tuned for that. I'll have that tomorrow or tomorrow morning. I'll have that. All right, let's go to the next game. So we have Texans 24, Jaguars 20. Evan and I talked about this yesterday. The Texans' play calling was so bad. They had so many first and second down runs with Cam Akers, who just sucks. Like if this were Joe Mixon, you could understand it, but they were like, it was like 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 10, and they'd run with the Akers, and he had a 2-yard gain, and like it would be 3rd and long, and that happened so much in this game. And Stroud, to his credit, bailed the Texans out of it a lot, but like they had like 3 or 4 straight drives that were 3 and out or something in the second half. They just couldn't move the ball in the second half because of the stupid play calling. I hope they fix it, and Mixon coming back will help. It should come back this week. So, you don't have to watch Akers just run for 2 yards anymore. He's just so bad. But you mentioned Nico Collins, he's incredible. Diggs had a rushing touchdown. He's catching everything underneath. Collins everything over the top. So, they kind of complement each other well. For the Jaguars, Brian Thomas is looking great, but Trevor Lawrence sucks, and he missed Thomas on a long play. Christian Kirk is revived at 12 targets. I wonder if they're going to trade him, just given that they're 0-4 and they have nothing going on. They might have a fire sale. But Tank Bigsby outgained Travis Etienne once again, so not a surprise there. So what's your takeaway here?
Travis. Trevor Lawrence is the mystique is totally gone after. Like, for me, like, it's been fading slowly at the end of last year. Really ever since that playoff loss to the Chargers. Was that 2022?
Well, he beat the Chargers in a comeback, and then lost.
Oh, right, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Right. So late last year, they fell apart. He's been terrible this year. He was terrible in this game. I watched a big chunk of this. I'm friends with a bunch of Jaguars fans here in Orlando. I'm like, guys, you have the Buccaneers and the Dolphins are better options. Like, what are you doing? Don't root for that team. They're terrible. They're so mismanaged. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence is terrible right now. I don't know what to do. Travis Etienne, by the way, he's terrible. And I don't, I've told people that for a couple of years. I think he's terrible. So yeah, Cartavius, aka Tank Bigsby, is clearly the better running back at this point. But their offense is not good enough to really sustain great drives. So it's like hard to like really trust Bigsby as like would you really feel confident in him as your starting running back in your lineup week in and week out with that offense right now? Like I don't. So you already talked about Nico Collins is playing out of his mind. He's way better than I thought. I did not expect this at all. No. Stephon Diggs, by the way, looked like it was a trick play. It looked like he was supposed to throw the ball on the trick play, and it looked like the guy was open, but he just like decided to run it on his own and like kind of like almost got tackled. I don't think that was supposed to be the play was drawn up. Anyway, Diggs is looking good. Dell's back, and I would imagine it's hard to trust Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs going forward. Like, I would imagine it's going to be one of the other most weeks, right? Or Nico Collins. Like, coming into the year, I thought Stephon Diggs would be the more consistent one, maybe, and be Nico and Tank that would come a share. But that's clearly not the case. By the way, I've got Joe Mixon in our league. I've got 4 guys on bye and Joe Mixon injury. I don't have a tight end, and so I'm going to have to drop either Quentin Johnson or Jerry Jeudy or Keenan Allen. I'm going to have to drop one of those guys to pick up a tight end. So, anyway, what a disaster.
I'm not going to be rushing to pick up any of them. Honestly, I think they're okay. They're all just okay. They're like fine filler guys. Like,
I have to drop one of those guys.
I know. I'm just saying that like they're fine. Like, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Oh, you don't think anyone's going to scoop them up for me?
I won't. I don't. I mean, especially not Quentin Johnson. I don't know. It feels like those 2 touchdowns he had were fluky. Judy's had high volume. I think he's better in PPR. And then Keenan Allen, you said him. I don't know what's going on with Keenan Allen. Like, maybe those weight concerns were legit. I don't know. Like, he picked up the injury that he had for 2 weeks, and I don't know. He's done nothing. So I guess I'd keep Allen just because of what he's done in the past, more recently last year. But I don't know. It just feels like all 3 guys are flawed. Bias says drop Allen, but he's a little biased there maybe. Drop all those players. Nice.
Good call. Allen he had 3 catches for 19 yards this past week. He did drop. He did have he was open. He didn't drop it. He had wide open in the end zone, and Justin Fields, sorry, Caleb Williams, Floridian slipped there. Caleb Williams just totally missed him. So, if he catches that, if he's got 4 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown, then the box, the fantasy box score looks very different. Keenan Allen also only played 30% of the snaps, so that's not really like 30% of the snaps on a bad offense is like pretty much useless.
Yeah. Is Braylon Allen a bad start? I wouldn't do it. I mean, if you have like a bunch of guys on bye and you're forced into it, it's not like the worst, but he's not going to get all the work. Obviously Breece Hall's there. You just want to hang on to him until Breece Hall gets hurt, if he gets hurt. So that's why you have him on your roster. Bigsby only 21 carries, but 8.2 yards per carry. There you go. Bigsby's he's a tank. I would not be surprised if he's the highest owned guy I have in best ball drafts this week, just because I've been scooping him up in like the 18th round or 17th rounds, just in case Etienne goes down with an injury.
When you look at the snap counts, they're pretty much even, or Bigsby has been out snapping Etienne.
Yeah.
For most games. So, obviously he's not getting the same amount of carries or touches, but I would imagine it's going to shift at some point.
Yeah, I agree. Pittman and Njigba for Evans. Yeah, I'd rather have Evans, unless like you really need the depth. But I'd rather have Evans. What do you think?
Yeah, unless there's a depth issue.
Yeah. And does Kenny have a take on the final play of Texans Jaguars that cost me a push? Did you see that? You said you watched the game. Did you see that?
Yeah. It cost you a push. What I thought was the guy who caught the touchdown was some guy I never heard of, and so useless for fantasy purposes. That's what I.
No. He's talking about the final play of the game where ATN got stuffed in the end zone, and they ruled that his forward progress was stopped at the 1, and they didn't give the Texans a safety, which would have covered.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the touchdown at the end.
Yeah, this is Dario Gumawale, but
no. I don't have a take. Sorry, Slew.
I think it might be a Tim Donaghy moment because like he got pushed into the end zone and then he rushed forward and then they tackled him and then they're like no, down at the 1 like mysteriously like not letting the Texans cover. That was very shady. All right, next game we have Vikings 31, Packers 29. This is not nearly as close as it seemed. The Vikings are up 28-0. The Packers scored 2 touchdowns off of Vikings fumbles. They just got the ball like very close to the goal line and they punched it in. So all of Jordan Love's stats were in garbage time. Like he did not look good in the first half. But then he lit it up in the second half. So maybe a precursor of things to come here now that he's not going to be rusty. Jaden Reed, his 30 DK points in both games Jordan Love has played, which is kind of phenomenal. Dontavian Wicks was the number 1 pickup of the week. I spent like how much? I think I spent 40% of my fab on Dontavian Wicks in that league that I need to win in. Just because I'm desperate for a win here, even though I'm the second highest scoring league. Tucker Kraft, I think, is a good option at tight end. You said you don't have a tight end. I imagine Kraft is picked up, but if for some reason in your league, like if Kraft is available, make sure you add him just because Christian Watson's out, so that condenses everything. And he's just been running way more routes and being on the field much more than Luke Musgrave. So it's clearly Kraft at this point. With Watson out, you have Reed, Stubbs, and Wicks getting more of a work share. With the Vikings, Jefferson, obviously. Addison scored 2 touchdowns, so you can't really rely on that. So maybe an opportunity to sell high on him. Aaron Jones looks great, but also maybe an opportunity to sell on him because Jones is phenomenal. It's just like he's had so many injuries over his career. So like how long can you expect this to go on? I would be worried about his durability because especially because they're using him a lot. So if you can't get good value for him, just keep him. But if you can get good value, I would consider offloading him. So what are your thoughts with this game?
Well, these are my notes. I wrote. I don't know if you can see my notes. I wrote Jordan Love equals Blake Bortles.
You love comparing guys to Blake Bortles.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite guy to dog on. There's like I should come up with the top 10 players of all time that I love the dog on the most. Blake Bortles and Kyle Pitts would certainly be in the top 10 easily.
Yes, and if you had coaches, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy and Miles Sanders might make my top 10 for sure too.
Yeah.
Those are all my living boys. Yeah, Jordan Love, you said it perfectly. He was terrible for a while. 389 yards and 4 touchdowns is awesome. I think here's the thing people always say, like, it's garbage stats still count in fantasy, so we care about. Yes, that's correct. If you had him in the lineup, awesome. But is that repeatable is the question. Like, can you play terrible for a game for a half and then still put up good numbers? The probability is no most of the time. It does happen sometimes, and it's great. Obviously, anyone who had Jordan Love this week probably won their game. But whether or not that's repeatable, it makes me nervous. Reed is great. I'm still not sure. I'm convinced on Wicks. I don't know. Maybe he might be great. I don't know. I see him and Dobbs play, and I think they're Romeo Dobbs. They're like the same guy to me. I don't know. It's hard to like. With Watson out, maybe it mattered, but I don't know. I'm not convinced. You said Jordan Addison, like he scored 2 touchdowns. Like they were awesome touchdowns. Like he was. I mean, one of them was like Sam Darnold threw over his head. He went up and got it, and it was a phenomenal. He was like floating in the air. I mean, it was awesome. So I don't know. I wouldn't be selling high on Jordan Addison. I think he's a great player, and Sam Darnold right now is playing the best football of his career. Maybe that won't continue, but I'd be hesitant to sell Addison right now because I actually he's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week, obviously, but I'd be hesitant to sell him because I think he's going to be really good.
Okay, fair enough. I don't feel too strongly about that, but I think I'd rather sell higher on Jones just because I expect him to get hurt at some point. Okay, yeah, Kevin O'Connell will scheme up Addison touchdowns. He did that for Naylor. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. Kevin O'Connell is just an amazing head coach right now. Definitely the leader for Coach of the Year at the moment. John said 17-0, but 13 more wins. There we go. John said it since the summer. And then, yeah, Slew and Cassandra, they picked up Wicks. Yeah, I like I said, I think he was the number 1 pickup. He basically plays the same role as Watson does. Like, it's the deep threat. Like, he's not going to have great game. He's not going to be, like, consistent, but he's going to have some explosive games just because of, like, what he does. And, like, we saw that from Watson last year, too. So, anyway, let's go to the next game. Bengals 34, Panthers 24. Bengals were up by 17 at one point in this game. The Panthers made it kind of close, but Joe Burrow looks healthy now. Jamar Chase had that 1 touchdown where he broke 3 tackles. He looks so good. Although Higgins had more targets than Jamar Chase did. Eric All continues to get 4 targets per game. You mentioned you don't have a tight end. Eric All is just, I guess he's better in PPR, so maybe that doesn't make sense for our league. But ever since week 2, when the Bengals played the Chiefs and Jim Nantz did the call, he said that the Bengals love Eric All, their rookie tight end, and they're going to get him more involved each week. And so you're seeing that. I mean, he's on the field consistently. He outproduced Mike Gesicki by a wide margin. I'd rather have him than Gesicki. We talked about Chase Brown over Zach Moss already. For the Panthers, Deontay Johnson just continues to be great with a real quarterback and not Bryce Young.
Isn't that remarkable?
It really is. He's been awesome. Xavier Legette is really good too. He had I think a couple of drops in this game, but otherwise he played pretty well. So if Legette's available in your league for some reason, definitely add him. Chuba Hubbard looks great, and an update on Jonathan Brooks is that the Panthers didn't even consider opening up his 21-day practice window. So Hubbard's pretty safe for now. So what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think everything's Chuba Hubbard. He's not a phenomenal talent, but he's a really solid. He's made himself into a solid player, and he's a great late round pick. Not a league winner, but a really great value. And as long as Dalton's the quarterback, you can, which is crazy to say, but they're a functional offense with him. And so yeah, you can actually trust him and Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson is a phenomenal route runner, and so yeah, I think I like that. Maybe I'm going to have to look at this Eric All character and go see. I'm going to have to pick up some schlup, so we'll see. I had Taysom Hill on my roster last week, and I dropped him last minute. I always this is a technique I like to have. I always if I have a Monday night players, I always like to have another Monday night player that I can fill in case there was so I had Jahmyr Gibbs in my flex spot. So I dropped the Taysom Hill and picked up Tyler Lockett on the wire, just in case Gibbs were to be injured. Lockett's playing on a Monday night, just so I don't get a goose egg. But now I regret having dropped Hill for Tyler Lockett. So anyway,
I assume someone picked them up, right?
yeah, he was picked up immediately. Yeah. Joe Burrow looks great. Yeah, Chase Brown looks great. I'm gonna probably have to play Chase Brown in our league this week, unless Joe Mixon is back this week. We'll see. I've got 4 guys on bye and Joe Mixon injured. So of my 10, and then between defense and tight end, like of our 10 starting spots, I think 7 of them will be players that are backups or waiver wire pickups. So we'll see if I can win that.
At least you get that out of the way, Take an L 1 week, and that's why I like in regular fantasy. Just load up on buys for the same week and just take an L, and then have everyone available for the other weeks. I think it's not a bad strategy.
I never even look at buys when we're drafting and stuff, and then literally until I get to week, I'm like, oh, this week I looked, I was like, oh, well, it looks like I'm going to take an L this week.
Yeah, I've learned to look at buys in the best ball drafts because if you can't add anyone, so if all your quarterbacks on the same buy, you will get a 0.
That's right.
So you kind of have to do that. Like I first made the mistake. I took like Jane Daniels and Anthony Richardson the same draft, and it was like, they both have week 14 buys. Oh, crap! Like what do I do? So I had to pick up like Gardner Minshew as the third quarterback. So rough times. If the Panthers only had a defense, Canales is the offense clicking with the red rifle. Yeah, it really does. And this was the offense I was expecting the first 2 weeks that didn't show up at all. And now Andy Dalton is running. I think in the past 2 weeks, the Panthers have the 6th ranked EPA offense. Like Andy Dalton's running the number 6 offense in the past 2 weeks. Just insane.
Crazy.
Just think about how good this team would be if Bryce Young actually lived up to his number 1 overall potential. It'd be insane. I guess it'd be the Redskins, right? Because the Redskins have the number 1 offense and the number 32 defense. So I guess we've seen that already. Standard scoring: would Kenny start Chase Brown versus Ravens or Jerome Ford versus Redskins?
Chase Brown versus Ravens.
Interesting. Okay, I think it's pretty close. Yeah. Okay. Next game is Bears 24, Rams 18. Rams shot themselves in the foot. They actually outgained the Bears in this game, but they committed some turnovers, one in the red zone, one to set up a quick Chicago score. DeAndre Swift really burned me here. I'm going to be on a mission to get Matt Eberflus fired because the Bears came out and said they're going to involve Roschon Johnson more. And so I saw DeAndre Swift under 39 rushing yards, and he hadn't eclipsed 31 in any game this year. And so I saw that number, and also the fact that Roschon Johnson was allegedly going to be more involved. And I was like, okay, this is my biggest play of the year. DeAndre Swift under 39.5 rushing yards. Of course, he goes for 93. He gets 16 carries, 7 targets. He's so involved here. And he, of course, he goes against a team that can't tackle at all. It couldn't be Roschon, who I played in DraftKings at 4,100. Which he didn't kill me. What killed me was that I had Rashee Rice, so that buried my lineups. But no, Swift looked awesome in this game, but only because the Rams can't tackle. I think he has one more good game left in the tank because the Panthers also can't tackle. But then after that, if you have Swift for some reason, try to sell him for anything after that, and you'll be able to get something for him after 2 good games. So keep him for 1 more game this week, and then unload him as quickly as possible because he's just not a good player. The receiving court for Chicago, I just don't know what to make of it because it was all of Dunze last week. It was mostly DJ Moore this week, but really he only had 3 catches for 22 yards on 6 targets. Just like Caleb Williams is just not quite there yet. He's not nearly as good as Jaden Daniels. It's just kind of nuts, And then as far as the Rams are concerned, Kyron Williams getting so much volume here, 23 touches. Jordan Whittington, finally, I've been talking this guy up since August. 8 targets, 6 catches, 62 yards. He's playing the Cooper Kupp role. So if you need a Rams receiver, it's Jordan Whittington. And I think he's good in PPR. I don't know about standard. You're going to need a touchdown. He's just going to be a high volume guy. He's going to be like a 5 for 60, a 6 for 50. He's going to do this. I feel like on a weekly basis until Cooper Kupp comes back. So PPR he's good. Try to get him in PPR. So what are your thoughts on this game?
Did you say? I think I heard you. I'm going to quote you. If you need a Rams receiver, is that what you said?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. if you need a Rams receiver, that's yes. But if you're in a situation, if anyone is in a situation where they need a Rams receiver, you're in a rough situation.
Oh no, believe me, I know. I don't know. What if you have Stafford? I don't know. What if you're Stafford's your quarterback for some reason and you want a Rams receiver? I don't know.
if you if my suggestion is look elsewhere for a wide
Yeah,
receiver if you need a receiver.
yeah, I know.
Um, I mean, ultimately, the Rams' offense is all about Kyron Williams right now, which makes me nervous because he's got a track record of getting injured, in Notre Dame and in the NFL, and so he's getting a lot of touches. He's the focal point of the offense. That makes me a little bit nervous. If they continue to ride him like that, is that gonna end in injury? And so that's a little. I mean, obviously, if you got him, you got to start him, and you love the touchdowns and the production, but it does make me a little bit nervous there. As far as the Chicago Bears passing game, it's terrible right now. You can't trust them, and you don't know who it's going to be. And then the running game, DeAndre Swift, like I heard someone say this, so I can't take credit. I heard someone say, if you take DeAndre Swift's highlight package and you just watch his best plays, you would think this guy is like a top 3 running back in this era. He's an elite player. Mm-hmm. But then like, you watch the whole thing, you're just like, this guy's a bonehead. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So you're gonna have, he looked legitimately good in this game, and I think maybe he thinks he deserves more credit than you gave him. Like, I don't think it's just because of the bad tackling. I think he played legitimately good, but like, do I trust he's gonna do it again? Like, no, like I don't. So the weird thing about the running game though is Swift had 36 snaps, Roschon Johnson 18, my boy Khalil Herbert 0. He didn't play.
That's crazy.
So I've officially realized I was wrong about Khalil Herbert. For 3 years, I've been telling you this guy's going to be great one day. He's going to be great. He's going to be great. I realized on Sunday he's never going to be great. He's never going to play again, I guess, apparently, because what happened. So I don't know. I think this entire team is just stay away unless you have to. Unless you need a Bears player, stay away from it. They're terrible.
There you go. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to get a Bears player or a Rams receiver. All right. Next game, Broncos 10, Jets 9. What a beautiful game. I don't know if you saw the stat on Bo Nix at halftime. He was 7 of 15 for -7 yards. I almost want to make a T-shirt with that on it.
How'd they win this game? I actually have not watched this game, so I don't know how it went.
Well, there was a lot of rain involved. Bo Nix was throwing behind the line of scrimmage a lot. The Jets were very confused offensively. Vance Joseph did a great job. But the Jets had the London trip coming up. So I actually thought they were going to be flat here, especially off a win on national TV against the divisional rival. This is the same situation in which the Chiefs got tripped up last year. The Chiefs lost to Denver as well last year. And then that was before the Germany game against Miami, and then they crushed Miami. Or not crushed Miami. They beat them by 7. But I think the Jets were just flat here. So I would not take away anything from the Jets here. Like Breece Hall, 10 carries, 4 yards. Broncos were just stacking the box and just like forcing Rodgers to throw in the rain. It just like nothing was working. And then Sutton, 9 targets for 3 catches, 60 yards, and the touchdown. He finally gets the end zone. But then like the next leading Denver receiver is 3 yards. So again, in a rainy game, just can't take away anything from it. Although Javonte Williams is 16 carries, but that's kind of misleading because it looked like Tyler Bidet was going to be heavily involved. He got like a carry on like the first or second drive, and then it looked like a routine tackle, and then he went to the sideline, and then he just went down, and like he wasn't moving, and then they had to cart him off in a stretcher. But luckily, he has movement in his extremities. But it was such a weird play because it looked like a routine tackle. It didn't look any like nothing nefarious or anything. So I don't know. Like for now, I guess it's Javonte Williams. There's no one else. Julian McLaughlin's just a change of pace back, so you can't really go with him there. There's nothing really here to talk about. I don't think. Any thoughts here? You said you didn't watch the game, but still.
Yeah, I haven't seen this game, so I was just watching highlights and the box score. Obviously, I've seen Braylon Allen play. Obviously quite a bit this year, and I mean he looks awesome to me. what was his situation in this game compared to Hall. I think I saw, by the way, Braylon Allen coming into this week was the 26th running back in standard scoring overall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's like, if that's sustainable, then you could be a flex play, or you could be on bye weeks, you could be a low end RB2, which is kind of crazy to think. But with this offensive output, it seems like you don't necessarily want to trust one running back, let alone the second running back. So how did that play out?
It's kind of like what you saw. Like Breece Hall got the start, and then like Braylon Allen was mixed in pretty favorably. I think I kind of have to wonder if they just don't want to waste Breece Hall this early in the season, and down the stretch, I feel like Breece Hall is going to get more of a workload, especially given that he has a torn ACL in his past. So and they know how talented Braylon Allen is. So like there's not much of a drop off, at least as far as a runner is concerned. Now, like Breece Hall is obviously a much better receiver out of the backfield. Like Allen's not bad in that regard, but still.
Right.
So I think you see 10 to 8 carries, but Breece Hall gets 5 targets. Braylon Allen only 1. So like Breece Hall is going to still be way more involved in the passing game. And like I said, I wouldn't take away anything from this game just because it was in the pouring rain and the Broncos were stacking the box and like they just wouldn't let the Jets run offense do anything. So I wouldn't downgrade either or Hall. I wouldn't downgrade Hall just for this performance.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, next game, Buccaneers. Sorry, Kenny, 33, Eagles 16. The Eagles didn't have anyone except for Barkley and Goddard, and surprise, surprise, they were the highest producing players for the Eagles. I told, I had this on the site, and I told Tom to start Paris Campbell, or to use Paris Campbell on DraftKings because he used 3,000. He's a flat minimum, and he caught a touchdown. He got 11.7 fantasy points for 3K. This is amazing. I mean, he was the top receiver, sadly, with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith out. Jahan Dotson just sucks. He's just not doing anything there. For the Buccaneers, 10 carries each for Irving and White. Not a surprise. I feel like it's going to be a split. I think Irving has a chance to get more carries than White. I think he's more talented. And then Evans, Godwin. Evans had the better game. I think Godwin's going to have more better games than Evans just because of how the Buccaneers operate under Liam Cohen. But they're both great. K. Dotton, by the way, 9 targets, and I think that has to do with Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer getting hurt. So he's had an increased target share the past couple of weeks. And for anyone playing Showdown, the Buccaneers-Falcons game on Thursday, Sterling Shepard. He had 3 catches, 51 yards. He's the number 3 receiver with Palmer and McMillan out. So he's super cheap. So feel free to get him in your lineup. He's like almost free square. So any thoughts on this game?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts on this game. And this Eagles squad, as an Eagles fan, Jalen Hurts was terrible in this game, and he's progressively been getting worse really since the middle of last year. He just doesn't see it. The offensive line actually played really good in this game without Lane Johnson, the Eagles, arguably the Eagles' best player overall, and you could argue. Their offensive line actually played well in this game, and Hurts had tons of time for long stretches of the game. And I don't know if guys were not getting open down the field. I don't know if it's the offense not being designed well. I don't know what the situation is. All I know is they suck. Let me give you a statistic that should make everyone who's an Eagles fan or a fantasy owner of any of these players concerned. At one point in this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 255 yards of offense and 24 points. 255 yards and 24 points. At that exact same moment, the Philadelphia Eagles had 0 offensive yards and 0 points scored.
Wow. That's wild. How's that? So what happened here? It just Hurts being bad, or I mean, obviously no receivers.
I mean, then there's some garbage time. Then he gets the push touchdown. Saquon has this. Basically, they finally decide to give the ball to Saquon, but like they get away from Saquon for long stretches of the time. It doesn't make sense to me. And so Saquon goes great. The third quarter, he has one great long run, gets tackled down to the 1, and then Hurts pushes it in for the tush push, which is always a bummer if you're a Saquon owner. If you're the running back owner in that scenario. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this, man. And so I am concerned. Maybe when AJ Brown and Devontae Smith come back, it'll all be fine. Like maybe it'll be fine, and numbers look great. I'm concerned the offense is broken, and that it's a Nick Sirianni problem, and that down the stretch you're going to be relying on the Eagles players, and you're going to be a goose egg, and you're going to be, it's going to be frustrating. So I don't know if you've drafted AJ Brown like I did or Devontae Smith, you got to start him, right? You can't sit those guys, but
yep.
I don't know. Other than Saquon, I'm going to be the passing game makes me nervous. As far as Bucky Irving, it's one other thing about Bucky Irving that I noticed. The snap count is 44-30 in favor of Rachaad White, but in the red zone, it was 9-7 in favor of Irving. So, I wonder if maybe Irving is clearly the better player, and I think at some point, he's not an amazing talent, but at some point he'll be the primary ball carrier, and we'll see how much value that offers with that, with the offense. But if Irving's a free agent on your league, I think he's worth a stash.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask this from my dad. So he's convinced. I saw him tonight for my sister's birthday. He's convinced that Nick Sirianni will be fired during the season, and he's hoping for Bill Belichick to come in. I don't know about Belichick, but what do you think? Sirianni will be fired during the season, or maybe after the season? What do you think?
I'd be shocked if it was during the season. They'd have to totally fall apart.
Yeah.
They got too much talent for them to probably totally fall apart at this point. Although I guess I probably would have said that last year too. So I'd be shocked. But though I think they're going to probably underachieve, and I think there's a strong possibility he's fired at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think the Eagles need to win multiple playoff games for him to keep his job. If they only win one game and then lose in the second round, I think he's still fired. Now, if they get to the NFC Championship, I think he'll be safe.
I'd be surprised if he makes the playoffs and wins a game. I think if he wins a playoff game, I think he'll. But it depends on how it goes. Right? Yeah. If he's up 28-0 and then it falls apart in the fourth quarter, then he'll be out the next day. But if they're on the road and they're the underdog and they play hard and they barely lose one, I think there's an excuse to bring him back.
Yeah, I agree. If they're blown out in the second game, I think he's gone. But yeah, I think you're right. Gabriel asking Dobbins versus ATN. I have Dobbins, Taylor. It's just a trade. Dobbins, Taylor, Gibbs, Robinson, Junior, Mixon. So this is like what I was talking about before. You're just trading running back for running backs. I don't really know what the point is. I'd rather have Dobbins. He is, by the way, the number one guy yards per carry after contact still. I'd rather have him than ATN. We talked about ATN. He's just not that good of a player. He gets the volume, but how much longer is that going to last? Like if Peterson's fired, new coach might be like, well, I noticed the Tanks Bigsby guy is running better. Let me put him in. And so I think Dobbins clearly over ATN.
Yeah. I would make the trade.
Okay, your thoughts? I'd give. Wait, what's this? I'd give Pitts, Achane, and Adams. In return, I get McBride, Hill, and Bucky. See, the problem is you don't know where Adams is going to go.
Hill, Tyreek Hill.
I guess.
Taysom Hill. I mean, which Hill are we talking about here?
Well, if he's getting McBride and Taysom Hill, I don't know why you're getting two tight ends, but.
Okay, I guess it's Tyreek.
I guess it's Tyreek. Yeah, and apparently Schefter was saying Tua's going to be back week 8, which I don't know how they know that, given his concussion history. But obviously with Tua, Hill becomes first round talent again. But then again, you don't know how long that's going to last. And like I said, we don't know where Adams is going to go. HN has no blocking in front of him, and he might be playing hurt too. But the Miami's run blocking has gotten so bad because they lost Connor Williams and Robert Hunt in the offseason. And this is what I was talking about a lot during the summer. I'm just really concerned about his run blocking, and he just hasn't had anything. And Pitts is a zero player, so I feel like you don't even need to put him in there. So it's really just HN Adams from McBride, Hill, and Bucky Irving. I think I'd rather have McBride, Hill, and Bucky Irving.
Yeah, I would make that deal. I would send Pitts, HN, and Adams away for. Adams could get traded to the Chiefs and then go gangbusters in the second half. That could happen. And but yeah, I think I'd rather have McBride. I think it's actually pretty clear. I might have tried to be questioning that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pickett or Leggett. Pickens. So Pickens, not Pickett. Pickens for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 90%
from Leggett. It's hard to believe in it long term.
Yeah, 90% of Bagley says 90% of the time the answer to why is X getting more carries than Y, even though Y is the better player, is because X is good in pass protection and Y isn't.
Yeah, that could be part of it. There's also things that happen, the things that happen that we don't know about. Like, I think about a Khalil Herbert. Like, are there just things that, like, hey, now we have had multiple coaching staffs, multiple offensive coordinators that phase him out of the offense. We saw the same with Miles Sanders. We see the same with DeAndre Swift. Like DeAndre Swift, he's at like, between the three teams he's played for, like 4 coaching staffs that have totally soured on him, right? Like, clearly there's something going on and I think maybe it has to be with like off the field stuff that we're never going to know about. Locker room stuff, attitude, work ethic. Like, I think there's a sense that we're like, certain guys are just respected in the locker room, and coaches value that to some extent. And and I don't know. It's hard to in a lot of cases it's maybe valuable. So I think about a guy like David Montgomery, like doesn't have the talent that he got. Khalil Herbert has more talent than David Montgomery, but Montgomery's more productive, and coaches clearly trust him more. So like I wonder, like you just. Okay, so something's going on. Maybe the pass protection is a part of it, but that might be a piece of it for sure.
Yeah. Do you think the Eagles regret giving Hurst that contract?
I don't. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what starting quarterbacks in the NFL make. I mean, it's his contract is he was the highest paid quarterback for all of 5 minutes. Like, I mean, he's like the 7th highest paid quarterback now. Like, it is what Daniel Jones is making $40 million a year this year. Like, crying out loud, Daniel Jones is terrible. So at the end of the day, like this is what. It's the cost of doing business in the NFL. Every starting quarterback is going to make between 40 and 50 million or more for the next few years. That's just, unless your name is Justin Fields, you make 1.3 million.
That's true. And Kasash says I'm voting for Casey Tomlinson. I just decided, and Slew agrees. I like. Well, first of all, Casey Tomlinson, maybe my favorite local politician. Also, I love how it says like voted against. Guaranteed a woman's right to abortion. No, like, look, you can believe one or the other, but there are some people who think that's a good thing. So like when you put up an ad like that, they're like, oh, okay, that seems reasonable. I'll vote for her. Like this, I don't understand that tactic. Like
no one. I didn't even notice it. I was so confused. I'm like, what is she talking? What is Cassandra talking about? I'm so confused. Oh, it's the ad on the screen.
Yeah. She's a local politician here. I voted for her in the past, so I will be voting for her again.
It's so good.
Yeah. That's Jalen Warren sucks. Just had to throw that in there. He's injured. I don't think he sucks. He's just injured.
Yeah, get out of here. He doesn't suck.
Yeah. John asking, start Trey Mason or Chase Brown. Trey Mason. Who's Trey Mason?
Trey McBride?
Trey Sermon, I think he means.
Trey Sermon. Okay.
Trey Sermon. Okay. Chase Brown, I think. PPR. Yeah.
Yeah. Trey. Yeah, that's a close one. That's a hard one for me. I actually may have to make that decision because I have both Trey Sermon and Chase Brown on my roster in our league, and I'm going to have to start one of them, or maybe I might have to start both of them because I'm going to decide between maybe Jerry Jeudy and. I've got a running back spot and a flex spot, and I've got Trey Sermon, Chase Brown, and Jerry Jeudy, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnson. And so I'm going to have to drop one of those guys to get a tight end at some point too. So I think I give the nod to Trey Sermon maybe. I'm willing to take it a shot. Assuming Jonathan Taylor's out, obviously. Walt, you
I
lost you.
Okay, so yeah. I'm back. So yeah, I think in regular, I think I'd start Sermon, but in PPR, I think I'd go Brown. I think it's pretty close. So, all right. Anyway, next game, Falcons 26, Saints 24. Don't be deceived by this score. The Falcons got 2 touchdowns on defense or special teams. Saints outgained them. The Saints were the better team. They were really good in the red zone until Taysom Hill got hurt. At least they scored twice. Alvin Kamara scored the other time. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, both big games. Like, it feels like the Saints only really have 2 receivers, so they're both going to get huge volume. And I keep mentioning that I do best ball drafts. So I feel like I try to get either Olave or Shaheed in every draft I do, especially given that the Saints have a very easy playoff schedule. So that's something I'm looking at too. given that the big money's made at the end if you get there. I want to get one of those guys. As far as the Falcons are concerned, Bijan Robinson had fewer carries than Algier. I think he was dealing with an injury. He's going to play Thursday night, but I don't think he's 100%. And so it might be a split. So if you're starting Bijan, just be wary of that. Try to find some alternatives until he gets healthy, and don't play him in the showdown. Now, in before he scores 3 touchdowns, but still, I don't think he's healthy. Drake London getting 6 catches, 64 yards. He also has an easy playoff schedule for those looking ahead. Kirk Cousins did not have a good game at all. Like, he threw a bad interception, and he missed Darnell Mooney. He had Mooney for a touchdown at the end to cover the spread, and he just overshot him. Now, luckily, Young Wei Koo bailed him out, but he did not play well. Granted, he was missing 2 offensive linemen, and they're going to get Caleb McGarry back, so that'll help. But he just not been that great. He was awesome in that 2-minute drill against the Eagles, but other than that, and I guess the first drive against Kansas City, but like other than that, he just hasn't been that good yet. But maybe they'll get better. So what are your thoughts on this game?
A couple things. One, I think Bijan Robinson is a great buy low target right now if you can get him. Yeah. I think if someone drafted him in the top, with the top 3 pick in the draft, they might be a little frustrated right now with him. He's awesome. He's a great player. I do think they did look like there was a little bit of an injury there. The Algier thing, like, Algier's a nice player. Like, he's not terrible. And so I would Bijan's gonna be fine. Bijan, whichever. He's gonna be fine. So I think he's a good low, target or buy low target. Drake London, good player. He was overdrafted in the second round. I was telling people in the summer, I thought he was like a 3rd or 4th round pick. And also Alvin Kamara is awesome. He's a great player. There was people this summer saying, "Oh, he lost it. He lost a step. He's not the same player." And I'm like, I watched him play last year. He still looked fine to me. The problems with the Saints last year wasn't Kamara. It was other things around him. And so, I don't know. I think be careful when you get advice from people who don't actually watch football. People who just look at the box scores. Like people are like, "Oh, his numbers were down. He must have lost a step." I'm like, he looked fine to me. And now he's, if you were going to redo the season-long fantasy drafts right now, the rest of the season, where does Kamara go?
Well, he's been going in the first round in the best ball drafts. So, he's been going
pick, right?
Yeah, he's been going mid first round, maybe sometimes end first round. So, I think his ADP, I actually can tell you his ADP right now in the best balls. Let's see. In this draft that I just did before tonight's show, Kamara went 9th overall. I'll read you the first round. You can tell me your opinion. Saquon Barkley 1, Justin Jefferson 2, Nico Collins 3, CeeDee Lamb 4, Derrick Henry 5, Jamar Chase 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown 7, Bijan Robinson 8, Alvin Kamara 9, Malik Neighbors 10, Breece Hall 11, Marvin Harrison Jr. 12.
Derrick Henry feels too high.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb feels a little too high. And Marvin Harrison Jr. definitely feels high there at the 12th spot.
Yeah, my pick was St. Brown at 7.
I think everything else seems in line. Yeah, you could quibble here and there a little bit. I think it's pretty much in line with what it probably ought to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Slapski says 12-man PPR, 2 flex starters: Kyler, Henry, Brian Robinson, CD, Nico. That's CD Nico. That's awesome. McBride, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, bench. Wicks, Wandale, Spears, Dowdle, Allen, and Schultz. Drop 1 from the bench. He's asking. So who are we dropping here? I think it's. I'm seeing only. Yeah, I'd drop Schultz. I don't think you need a backup tight end. And I know, you talked about how Doodle is not that good. And I think you could drop Spears, but there's no reason to have 2 tight ends. Unless it's a super deep league, 20 teams, and there's no tight ends available or something.
In a 12-man league, that shouldn't be the case.
Oh yeah, 12-man league. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, Schultz for sure, definitely. Yeah, no need to. Sue says ban the 50-yard field goal. No need to ban the 50-yard field goal. Yeah, just make him go for it. Just get Dan Campbell or incentivize teams to go for it or something. Yeah, you don't exactly. Yeah, you don't need 2 tight ends. All right. Next game, 49ers, Patriots. So we're in the late afternoon games now. and I have the wrong box score here. So I'll add that in a second. So let's look at Redskins 42, Cardinals 14. Jaden Daniels, I'm not sure if you heard this, but he's had the highest accuracy for any quarterback in the first 4 games. It's just been
81%, right?
81%. No one above 80. It's kind of insane how great he's been. It's just phenomenal. I mean, it's like it's crazy. Like his accuracy is higher than Tom Brady with Welker and Moss, higher than Drew Brees in his prime, higher than Peyton Manning in his prime. Now, granted, and I brought this up yesterday, the EPAs of the defenses he's played so far this year are 21st, 22nd, 27th, and 30th. So he has yet to play a team in the top 20 defense. So he has, I mean, he's been great, but like he hasn't been tested yet. The first test comes up this Sunday against the Browns. The Browns have fallen from defense. So we'll see how he does. I think he's still going to be good. Will he score in every play, on every drive? I have my doubts. So, I still think he could win the game, but still. The Redskins keep rotating number 2 receivers. Like it was Noah Brown week 2, and then it was Luke McCaffrey week 3, and then it was Olamide Zaccheaus week 4. I don't know if you can read anything into that. It's just like McLaurin for me. As far as the Cardinals are concerned, they really missed Trey McBride. Like it was just they're trying to force it to Harrison, wasn't working. And like James Conner had a good game, but really Kyler Murray struggled. He only misfired 6 times. So he just couldn't maintain drives, and the Redskins pressured him a lot. He took a lot of sacks, which I was kind of surprised by because the Redskins don't have a good pass rush, and Arizona has a good offensive line. So I was pretty perplexed by that. Maybe Arizona flat or something off a tight game against Detroit. I don't know. But what are your takeaways here?
Jaden Daniels is awesome. If the Bears could do it over again, they would take Daniels over Caleb Williams. I'm not even sure that's close.
Yep.
A part of the whole accuracy thing with Daniels was the first 2 games. His ADOT, average depth of target, was really short. Like everything was short passing. But the last 2 games he's been airing it out, and it's awesome. Obviously the best beneficiary of this is Terry McLaurin, who finally has a real quarterback to play with, and he's played with a bunch of bums, for his whole career. So I think Terry McLaurin's going to end up, seriously outperforming his draft position now that he's playing with a legitimate quarterback. So awesome. As an Eagles fan in the NFC, Jalen Hurts is the 3rd best quarterback in the division right now, and he's barely ahead of Daniel Jones. I mean, he's playing that bad. Jaden Daniels is the best. It's been really bad. Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC East, and I'm not even sure that's close at this point. Pretty awesome on the Cardinal side. James Conner is playing the best football of his life. Like he's not an elite player, but this is the best version of James Conner we've ever seen, and it's kind of weird. Like how many running backs he had like good numbers, but he was sort of really inconsistent and mediocre for most of his career. And he's kind of had a stretch where he was less than mediocre, but now he's a little bit of a resurgence. Like, I don't know, he's in a weird career. Obviously he's a cancer survivor, so that's great. Like, I don't know, weird career, but he's playing great. So if you got Connor, that's great. Last week I defended Kyler Murray a little bit. That was probably that was not a wise choice because he was terrible in this game. I was wrong to defend Kyler Murray. Let's just he's not good at football. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure if the injuries are still the injuries still there. But they're I think he's seeing what's the old adage? You're hearing footsteps, right?
Yeah.
I think he's dropping back the pass a couple times to and it's like he's dodging defenders that aren't there in the pocket, and he's fleeing the pocket early. I don't know. Something's wrong, and until he gets right, it's hard to trust offensive weapons, consistently.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what went wrong with him because he had played better like that Rams game a week 2. He was awesome. So I don't know. Was there Call of Duty or something coming out or whatever? I don't really understand. It's true though. I like he just I don't know. And he's been criticized on his work ethic before, so maybe it's not a surprise that he sometimes just struggles. I don't quite get it, It was like it came out of nowhere. Like I especially against this Redskin defense that couldn't stop anything like through the air. So I expected better from him. I played him in DraftKings, so I made that mistake for sure.
Terrible mistake. Way to go.
Well, it didn't matter because Rashi Rice got hurt anyway. So yeah. So all right. So let's see if I can get this graphic up. For some reason, it won't read. It won't read the Patriots 49ers box score. I'll try to get it up next time. All right, Browns Raiders. This was Raiders 20, Browns 16. No Max Crosby, no Devontae Adams, doesn't matter. Raiders get the win. I thought Brock Bowers was going to have a great game, but he didn't do much of anything. 2 catches, 19 yards. So was Trey Tucker. I didn't highlight him in the ad drop. I kind of regret that because Devontae Adams might be traded, and so suddenly Trey Tucker is going to get a much bigger workload here. So if he's available, maybe you can pick him up. Jacoby Myers will obviously benefit from that. And I do think Brock Bowers is going to have some great games on the horizon. And you nailed that. You're talking about Zamir White just being terrible all summer, and that's definitely been the case. I think Madison might take some workload here, and Madison's not good either, but at least like he's better at the goal line, and so I think he could eat into White's workload. For the Browns, Amari Cooper has made so many mistakes. He dropped passes. He ran the wrong route one time. And I feel like he could bounce back. He's that talented. I don't know why he's playing like a bonehead right now. Deshaun Watson actually had a good game, like for relatively speaking, like for himself. I mean, this is probably yeah, this is his best game of the year, which is not saying much, but still. And he has the Redskins coming up, so I think I'm playing him on DraftKings. He's so cheap. Like he and Cooper as a stack, and it lets me get to everything else, But still, anyway, what are your thoughts here in this game?
Yeah, I actually have not watched this game, so I don't know. I'm just watching highlights of the box score. I'm the one player that I'm intrigued to consider. Who's this rookie for Vegas? The rookie running back, Derek Labo, Dylan Labo.
Dylan Lobby, yeah.
Yeah, is he good?
I don't think he's that good. I don't know. I wouldn't be rushing to him, but like given the alternatives, I think maybe I don't know.
Like the reason I'm asking is like when I watch the Raiders play, what I've played early, the previous weeks, like they're not like I don't know that they're like a terrible. Like they've got some talent a little bit. Maybe obviously if they trade Devontae Adams, they'll take a significant hit there. But like they've got some offensive talent. Like they can move the ball a little bit. I wonder if a reasonably decent running back there might be able to like actually do some stuff. Alexander Madison sucks, but he sucks less than Zamir White. So obviously Madison's going to be decent for now. But like I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm grasping here. I'm wondering. Is it a situation where maybe this rookie comes in second half of the year and ends up being a player that's worth, rostering? But I've not seen him play. I've not watched them. So because I retired from college football, so I don't know.
It's always good to be retired from some sports. Sometimes you have to do it.
I think I got married. I got married. I was almost 38 years old, and I had to retire from lots of things. College football was at the top of the list. Hockey. Golf. Sad day. I was sad to retire. Although my wife still lets me watch the Masters every year, so I get that at least.
You watch the Masters? I thought weren't in the golf.
No, I watched one. No, I used to be. I retired.
Oh, okay, good. Interesting. Okay, because when I got you into Rainmakers Golf, it seemed like you didn't know of any of the players except for like
because I hadn't watched I only watched the Masters. That's it. So you watch one tournament. It's not enough to know all the players.
Okay, interesting.
Years ago, I used to watch.
All right, so Dynasty 39 asking, would you trade Doodle and Ferguson for Dell and White, or Ferguson for Dell? I have Bowers, I have AR-15 Gino, Nico Pittman, Deontay, Achan, Bijan Bowers. You would?
Yeah, stop talking to us and go take the two. Yes, for Tank Dell?
Well, yeah, Ferguson for Dell, yes. But Doodle and Ferguson for Dell.
And
I
Rashid
guess,
and
and
Rashad White.
yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, I would do that quickly. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, I mean, again, maybe we have different views. I think Rico Dowdle sucks. I think Ferguson is fine, but he's a low end tight end one. Like, who cares? You can get the on the waiver wire any given week. Like,
No.
you're giving away slop to get Tank Dell. I don't know. I'd be running this. I'd I'd be I'd be afraid that the guy's going to rescind the trade.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should do that. All right, let's see if I finally figured this out. I don't understand why this is not working, but I think we finally solved it here. All right, we did it. So Patriots lose 30-13 to the 49ers. I don't know what to say about the Patriots. Stevenson has fumbled in every single game this year. So how long is that going to continue? Like, do they go to Gibson eventually? But like Gibson also fumbles. Like, I don't know what to make of this. I think the only guy I would be happy to own, and like this is not that happy, is like Hunter Henry, because he had one great game this year and he's okay. I think Damari Douglas is fine too, but only in PPR. But really just grasping at straws. There's nothing really to say about the Patriots.
By
49ers,
the way,
though.
someone told me his name is Pop Douglas. Apparently,
Pop Douglas, yeah, that's his nickname. I don't know why.
strange.
Yeah. Niners, though, Jordan Mason is just a beast. And McCaffrey, something McCaffrey, I love how McCaffrey goes from, in the preseason, remember, it was just a calf, right? And then it was an Achilles. And now it's two Achilles. So, like,
Disaster.
what is, like, by Thanksgiving, he's gonna have Ebola at this point. Like, what is up with this guy? Like, he just like has injuries multiply, or the Niners have been lying to us. I guess that's probably the most logical thing. You mentioned Ayuk before, just disaster so far, but I think he will bounce back. I think he's just way too talented not to. It's funny that Juwan Jennings still leads the team in receiving yardage. Debo working his way back. I think he's going to be more involved. George Kittle is he's like the only top tier tight end who's just lived up to his reputation so far.
He was awesome in this game.
Yeah, he really was. So I think if you were to rank the tight ends right now, if you're drafting all over again, I think Kittle might be number one. But what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Kittle was awesome. Brock Purdy was awesome in this game as well, and he's not been. In my mind, he's been overrated his entire time in the NFL. People want to compare him to Tom Brady because he was the last pick. Blah blah blah. Like that's all overrated. Stop it. He's been slightly above average for most of his career thus far, but we're starting to see an evolution. He was great in this game, and Juwan Jennings was still pretty much the primary read on most of Brock Purdy's dropbacks. Like, Juwan Jennings is the primary receiver in the team right now. Ayuk is not a priority. He had 2 catches in this game. He's not a priority, and so I don't know the situation there. It kind of reminds me. Remember Dante Pettis? Remember, like he was a great talented player. Obviously, Ayuk's way more talented than Pettis ever was. But but for some weird reason, Shanahan just didn't like Pettis and just never played him.
Right.
This kind of reminded me of that. Like, is Kyle Shanahan angry at Ayuk? Is he in a doghouse? Like, is there a situation like I don't know? It's very, very weird. Like, it's just, you watch this game and it's just very clear they are making no effort to get the ball to Ayuk. It's just, we're going to run our reads, and if you're wide open, then Purdy may throw the ball to you. Isn't Shanahan the brilliant gamer, the brilliant schemer, the brilliant designer of plays and getting his guys open in space? Blah 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 blah. I'm so amazing, even though I've choked in every big game in my career. Kyle Shanahan, he's one of those. He's such a schmuck, too. God. Anyway, I don't understand the Ayuk thing. There's no creativity to give him the ball, no bubble screens, no rub routes, nothing. I'm very concerned if I were an Ayuk owner, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd be very concerned.
Yeah, I hear you. So asking, I Biden and Fetterman. Would you trade them for Harris and Shapiro?
No,
Fetterman's been pretty based. I think
yeah, yeah. Fetterman's great. Yeah, he's so entertaining too. I mean, I would
yeah.
never vote for him, but he's entertaining.
Well, if it was like Fetterman versus Oz, I think I'd vote Fetterman.
I mean, I'm
Oz
not
was
voting for any
best.
one of those four. I'm not voting for any one of those four characters on that screen. So I guess Fetterman's the most
Yeah,
entertaining of the bunch.
I didn't vote for either Fetterman or Oz. I voted for the Libertarian guy in that race. But no, I mean you have Alzheimer's guy versus vegetable guy, and then you have brain dead woman, and what do you say about Shapiro? He's kind of
Mhm.
snake politician. I guess I don't know.
I mean, he's like a typical typical shyster politician. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a. I mean, I judge politicians on a curve. Like I expect all of them to lie to me. I expect all of them
yeah.
to be unethical, and so it's a sad state of American politics.
Isn't that crazy? We elect these people to work for us, and they're all like shady grifters for the most part. There are a couple good ones here and there, but
Yeah,
for the most part,
but generally, the type of person who wants to go into politics, and like there are some people that are there, like really who really want to help people and make people good. But like most people who are competent and reasonable and wise, they want no part of that.
yeah,
Like I wouldn't want no part of being president. I wouldn't no part of being a governor. I wouldn't no part of being I wouldn't no part of running anything. I want to run a private entity where I can make money and live out my values and you know serve my God and serve my community and love my family. Why would I want I want to serve my community by offering valuable services. Why would I want to participate in that garbage? So
yeah.
that's my rant.
I agree. I would never want to be president. I think governor I wouldn't mind just because I feel like I could make Pennsylvania a great state, but anything above that, I wouldn't want. All right. Anyway, let's go back down. Last of the late afternoon games: Chiefs 17, Chargers 10. The Chargers are up 10-0 in this game. Justin Herbert was limping around the entire time. Not sure why he's even playing. Like he didn't have either tackle. I just want to just rest him, make sure he's healthy. I just don't get what Jim Harbaugh is doing. Like Harbaugh's a great coach, but I don't understand. I just disagree with what he's done. Dobbins didn't have any opportunity here. The Chiefs have been surprisingly good against the run. And plus, like it's not like he had much to run behind. Ladd McConkey continues to look like the best receiver on the Chargers, and I even think that like he at this point is underrated just because this 5 for 67 and a touchdown. This is with an injured Herbert, and I feel like with a healthy Herbert, he's going to have just way more production. Quentin Johnson, on the other hand, 1 for 9. I think I would sell high on him. Or maybe that window has passed, but in the past I would have. So Rashee Rice got hurt in this game. Travis Kelce suddenly becomes way more productive, and I think Kelce's lack of production was probably just because of Rashee Rice, and like Rashee Rice is doing all the underneath stuff, and now with him out, Kelce is just going to go nuts here. So I expect Kelce to have a great second half of the year. And as far as the running game is concerned, Carson Steele fumbled and then got benched, and then Kareem Hunt was the running back the rest of the way. It sounds like Pacheco might be back like week 9 or 10. So even if you pick up Hunt, it's not going to be for the long term. So that's why I wouldn't go nuts with him with his fab or anything. But what are your thoughts on this game?
Kareem Hunt being the primary ball carrier for the Kansas City Chiefs after being, I think I heard he was driving a truck. He was a semi-truck driver last week. No, he was
Is that true?
No, I'm making that.
Okay. Yeah.
I heard he was a security guard at CVS. No, like this guy's off the street, then played, and all of a sudden he's your primary ball carrier on the perennial Super Bowl contending Chiefs. Like that's everything you need to tell you about Carson Steele. Everything you need to know about Samaje P. Ryan. Like Kareem Hunt can come in and do that. Like those guys suck. Like so. I wouldn't go crazy spending a bunch of fab. Well, I guess it's already late in the week anyway. Maybe people did go crazy spending money on Kareem Hunt, but yeah, I would. I don't trust any of these guys right now. The weird thing is this: the Chiefs. I think I still trust them to be the most likely team to win the Super Bowl, and yet right now, I don't trust any of these players in my fantasy squad, except I do have Harrison Buckner as my starting kicker in our league,
No.
but other than Buckner, there's no one on this team I really want. I'm not even want Mahomes right now with the numbers he's producing. Like the state of it.
Yeah.
This team just is like the epitome of like we're just cruising, do the bare minimum to win some games in the regular season because we want to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and we'll turn it on in December and January. Like that's what this is right now. Like this team does not look like they're going all out. They're doing the bare minimum to try to win games, win enough games to get a home playoff game, and then we'll see you in January. Like that's the vibes from this team. That is not the vibes you want from players you're relying on to win fantasy games. And so, as weird as it is right now, I mean, if you drafted Kelsey, you drafted Mahomes, you're stuck with him, right? Like you can't do anything. Like, but at the end of the day, yikes! It does not feel good. It feels really inconsistent. If they trade for Devontae Adams, obviously that could change things significantly.
Yeah. I heard the potential for Hopkins going there, DeAndre Hopkins, because they had shown interest in him before, and Tennessee has no reason to keep him at this point. So maybe him. Let me sell you on one guy, Noah Gray. He had 4 catches, 40 yards. You said you needed a tight end, and it seems like with Rashee Rice out, like Gray is going to have an increased workload. So like not someone I would like to start for the rest of the year, but like as a bye week filler, I think Gray is okay.
I mean, if I'm starting Noah Gray, I'm pretty much punting the position for the week. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Like you said, you had to pick someone up at tight end, so I don't know what else you're gonna get.
And Kate Allen is available in our league, actually.
Oh wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, never mind. Get him. There you go. I wasn't sure he was available. RNG says, "Hey, looking for your opinion. Currently 3rd place in my league. Drop Roschon to stash Hawkinson." Yeah. Swift and Farmer. Yeah, I would. I mean, Swift is getting the most of the workload. I think that could change later in the year, but you know Hawkins is going to come back eventually. I guess you may not know, but like still, I think there's a good chance he does in the second half of the year, like maybe November. But yeah, I would. What do you think?
I think I don't know when is Hawkinson scheduled to come back? Have they set a timeline officially?
No, I mean he's on the pup list, so he's got a couple more games here. But I think I would assume it's November, but they haven't said anything.
I don't know. It feels a little early to be stashing Hawkinson, and I don't even know is he going to be great when he comes back. Like he's obviously talented. Like getting in the game shape is not easy, and things are clicking in Minnesota. Like I don't want to assume Hawkins is going to go in, and I don't know. I wonder if like Addison becomes the main guy in the middle of the field, and Hawkins is an afterthought for until next year. I don't know.
Yeah,
Roschon Johnson could be a nice stash now that Khalil Herbert is apparently just no longer exists.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know why they don't trade him if they're not going to use him. That's the frustrating part. So yeah, you're welcome. Good luck. Well, hopefully you move out of 3rd and into 1st or 2nd. All right, so let's go to the Sunday night game. Ravens 35, Bills 10. Felt so great because I had the Chiefs on and Bills on the teaser. The Chiefs won, and I was like, "Oh, Bills plus 8.5. This is gonna be a nice one." And no, apparently not. The Bills just were discombobulated in this game. Josh Allen saw some pressure. Then they ran some weird trick play when they're trying to come back. It was just a mess. And the Bills couldn't take advantage of the Ravens' cornerback problems with their receivers. Khalil Shakir had the best game, and like most of his production came on this long play. Kincaid continues to be productive, but like no touchdowns. He's 5 for 47, but still he didn't score. And then for the Ravens, like Derrick Henry, just I don't know, defying all odds because last year the Titans were using Tajay Spears over him. And maybe that says something about the Titans, but Henry looks great for now. He still reminds me of Bowser in Mario Kart. Because like he starts slow, but like once he gets going, you can't catch him. Like no one can catch him, and he's huge. And so I mean he looks awesome now. I don't know how long that's going to last because he's old and he's had a big workload over the years. I think someone who's interesting is Justice Hill. He continues to be like heavily involved in the offense. Like 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think it's crazy to like use him as a flex during bye weeks, especially in PPR leagues. Like conversely, what do you do if you drafted Mark Andrews? Do you drop him? What do you think? What are your other thoughts here?
Mark Andrews had 1 target in this game,
Yeah.
Thus far this season, he has run routes on, I think I saw the stat, 35% of his snaps. He's only run routes on like 35. He's basically blocking 2/3 of the time and running routes 1/3 of the time. He's totally unusable right now. I mean, it's terrible. So yeah, really bad. Derrick Henry finally looked like Derrick Henry. I mean, this is Derrick Henry. It's like, he 1 yard gain, 1 yard gain, 2 yard gain, boom, 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 and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, he breaks up 70-yard, and he, runs faster than no man that size should run that fast. Like, just remarkable. So I mean, it's total Derrick Henry as he's always been, and he looked fine. Justice Hill though is the one I agree with you totally. He's kind of the surprise gem. I wonder if he can, if that continues. I mean, he's looked really good. I've kind of secretly been monitoring when to pick up Keaton Mitchell, because I figured Henry would falter, and Mitchell would be the guy to step in and be productive. But if Justice Hill is playing like this, he's probably going to get a significant amount of carry. So I think there's one of the great lessons to be learned from this game is, and I know you mentioned this in the summer. Baltimore lost 3 offensive linemen from last year, and I think people then assume, well, that means they're going to suck. They lost their offensive linemen, they're going to suck. They're going to suck. They're going to suck. I'm like, okay, maybe, but like their offensive line has been really good actually, and that just because you lose players that we know are good doesn't mean they're going to automatically suck. So I think sometimes we make assumptions in the summer that don't always bear out.
Yeah, that's fair. Sue says, Bills 4th and a long yard, go for it. 4th and 2, punt. What was that all about? I was losing my mind there. We actually talked about it last night with Evan, but I was like, what are you doing? It's like you just went for it and then you just punt. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's like they could sneak it on the first one, but not in the second. But you do have Josh Allen with I don't know. It's stupid.
By the sideline pass, Josh Allen, going out of bounds, totally, contorted, throws the ball with the flip of the wrist, 30, 40 yards on the field. I mean, just what a play. What a play. Yep. What a player. He's so fun to watch.
Yeah, he's incredible. All right, 2 Monday night games. Titans 31, Dolphins 12. Good luck finding any fantasy value here except for Tony Pollard. So I love Pollard. I keep drafting him best ball. Glad I think I'm in every league I'm in. So he's definitely rewarded me. But as far as the Dolphins are concerned, like I even asked you last week, like, where would you draft Tyreek Hill at this point? And you said 5th round. I felt all good because in one best ball draft I got him in the 3rd round. I was like, oh, great value with Hill, and then you broke my spirit by saying 5th round for Tyreek Hill. Now though, with the caveat that the Tua may come back week 8, sounds like, I will ask you again, where would you draft Tyreek Hill, and what else do you think about this game?
3rd or 4th round is, it's probably right with Tua coming back in week 8. That's probably right because I could imagine he'll just go ahead, having a couple games where he totally goes off late in the year, and that's going to be great value in best ball for sure. Yeah, I think you said it. I mean, you said it right. That, Will Levis is terrible, and Mason Rudolph is not much better. Wow, yeah, pretty bad. And then Miami, it's not only that Miami quarterbacking has been bad, it's the coach is not, like, it's almost like, it feels like, okay, when Tua's in the game, Mike McDaniel's going to do all this fancy stuff, and he's like, Tua's not in the game, what's the point? Why even try? Like,
right.
like that's what, like, I don't, it's not the same offense. They're not even attempting to run the same. So, he's got Devon Achane, like, running up the gut, like these wham blocking schemes. I'm like, dude, he can't do that. That's not. Then he's got Then the next play, Devon Achane's a slot receiver, and he's like cracking back the block. Like, it's just like, what are you doing? I don't understand this team, and so it doesn't make any sense. It's totally dysfunctional. Do you just stay away? I don't know. It's hard to. At this point right now, if you own Waddle, is Waddle startable? Right? Like, he's not startable.
No, I have him in one league. I'm not starting him at all.
Is Achane startable? Really? Do you trust Achane? Like,
it's rough.
Obviously, with bye weeks coming in, like, maybe he's still like. But I'm begging for better options. There are plenty of guys I'm going to take. Trey Sermon or Devon Achane. Like Trey Sermon's looking really good.
Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, you're right. And like I said, Achan just not breaking any tackles, lowest yards per carry after contact, and he's not getting any run blocking. So you have like the double whammy there. At least last year he got great running lanes behind Hunt and Williams, and like now he's not getting that at all. And the opposition could play close to the line of scrimmage. So it's actually triple whammy. Like he's just not getting anything. So yeah, I agree. I'd rather start Sermon over Achan. It's kind of insane. But Tua may come back week 8, so this might all be resolved. But we'll see. I don't know if I trust that completely. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game or tough spot for the Dolphins until then. By the way, I bet Will Levis to throw an interception at like minus 134 or minus 132. And I was putting my son to bed. And I was reading him a story, and like, so he was done one of the books, and he went to get a second book, and I quickly checked the score on my phone and the stats, and like the game just started, and I saw Will Levis threw an interception. I'm like, wow, this is the easiest bet I had in my life. I didn't have to swear it out at all. I just looked at my phone right away, he threw a pick. It's great.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, seriously. All right, last one. Lions 42, Seahawks 29. This is an awesome game to watch. Just a lot of back and forth here. Jared Goff, 18 of 18. Crazy. 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. He actually threw an incompletion, but penalty wiped it out. But still, he was great in this game. Lions ran all over the Seahawks, which you would expect because the Seahawks can't stop the run. Nothing much from the receivers outside Jameson Williams scored a 70-yard touchdown, but outside of that, nothing really stood out except for maybe like Tim Patrick had 2 catches, 52 yards. I like Patrick. I knew the Lions were super stoked that they picked him up. And you know, he's not going to be like on the fantasy radar, but if Williams goes down or St. Brown goes down, I think suddenly Patrick becomes a little interesting. As far as the Seahawks are concerned, Kenneth Walker, this is another prop I lost. I had Walker under 52 and a half rushing yards or something similar to that. And he has 6 rushing yards at halftime. And I felt great. I was like, yeah, I'm going to win this. And then he ripped off 28-yard run, then another 28-yard run. I'm like, oh, crap. We lost this one. By the way, this is the first time a Lions team has allowed more than 70 rushing yards to a player since the end of 2022, I believe. Walker just crazy. 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. Metcalf was awesome. Jackson Smith and Jigba was pretty solid. So what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Ken Walker was great. The flip, to stay out, you know, what was it, like a cartwheel in someone's arms to not get his knee down. I mean, what a great move. If anyone didn't watch that, go back and highlight. I mean, it was one of the best highlights you'll see in a long time. Jared Goff, scoring a touchdown, a receiving touchdown. As we mentioned earlier, he has more receiving touchdowns than 8 of the top drafted players combined. I am a little bit concerned with the now that James Williams is a legitimate, like for many years, the Lions have not had a legitimate outside threat. And so they threw all over the middle of the field constantly. Now that they have a legitimate outside threat, they are throwing the ball a lot outside of the hashes, way more than they did before. And that is cutting into St. Brown's production a little bit here. St. Brown right now is the 19th best quarterback or receiver in standard, and I think 13th in PPR. So 13th PPR, it's still fine, I guess. Not ideal if you drafted him in the first round. But, he's the 19th best right now in typical standard scoring. That doesn't feel great. And so I think that's going to continue. So I had a lot of people who drafted him in the first round in standard leagues. Like I think the James Williams effect is really affecting St. Brown's production. I mean, for the Lions, that's a good thing, right? I mean, it's now they have more ways to beat you. So if you're a Lions fan, that's exciting. But if you're and it's cutting into so Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown used to run different concepts in the middle of the field. Well, now they're kind of running the same stuff, so they're kind of cannibalizing each other. So it's like James Williams going to get targets on the outside, and then St. Brown and Laporta are kind of rotating and who's going to eat each week. You're like, I don't know that there's going to be enough offensive production because they run so much to feed 3 receivers. And so I think people who drafted St. Brown and Laporta are going to be, slightly just not they're not going to fall off a cliff. They're not going to be terrible, but I think they're going to be down from where they were drafted. And I think, if you could trade St. Brown and get first round value, if people still look at him like that, I think I'd be considering that. If you could get you could trade Laporta and get decent value. You're not going to get what you drafted, but I'd be willing to sell high on these guys if I could sell them for something.
Once again, breaking my spirit here because I just read that I drafted St. Brown in the first round in my best ball draft. Albeit that's PPR. DraftKings is PPR. So
PPR is different.
Yeah, I know. I agree with what you said about standard. I'd be concerned about standard, a little concerned about standard. PPR, not at all, as you can tell because I drafted him. So Waddle's body language, he looks discouraged. Walker playing in Michigan had to be a big deal. After Michigan State, I didn't put that 2 and 2 together there, but you're right. But I thought that like in his first game back, he might be limited a little bit, especially given that Charbonnet was playing so well, especially in the last game. But it was all Walker. They just forgot about Charbonnet. Yep. Would Kenny play Dolphins D or Patriots D for this epic matchup?
Do I have to pick either one? I mean,
they're playing against each other,
it's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins.
Dolphins, okay. And then Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels. Is that for this week or season long? If it's this week, it's definitely Josh Allen because Houston's defense has not been that good. And even if it's season long, I still think Josh Allen, but it's a lot closer than we would have ever projected for the season, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly Josh Allen. It's the Josh Allen. I mean, he's the second best quarterback in football, the number one fantasy quarterback in football. I mean, there's a pretty big gap between Josh Allen and a lot of the rest of the guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. All right, I guess that's about it. Thanks, guys, for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. Kenny, do you want to plug your site here or anything else?
Thecapisfake.com. No brand new content, but lots of good stuff. Lots of good old articles about the salary cap, fantasy football, regular football, all sorts of fun stuff. So feel free to check it out, especially if you still believe that the salary cap is real. You should check it out. Although, also fun stat, I know you retired from baseball, Walt, but I've not retired from baseball yet. The Detroit Tigers just beat the Houston Astros in the first round of the playoffs, and the Major League Baseball playoffs. The pitcher that they beat in Game 2 for the Houston Astros, his salary this year was $19 million. The total combined salary of the Detroit Tigers team this year, $18 million. So,
wow.
The salary the Phillies payroll this year is about $226 million. The Detroit Tigers is $18 million. Maybe one sport needs a real salary cap. I'm not sure.
Maybe. That's pretty wild. Yeah, I'm looking at this box score here. So it was Hunter Brown who had $19 million?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd never heard of him. So congratulations on the $19 million, Hunter Brown. No, I did. This is per a recommendation. I bet Max Fried under 4.5 strikeouts today, and he only pitched 2 innings and only had 2 strikeouts. So I won that one. I did lose another bet. So I bet 2 today. Again, I never heard of these people. I just this handicapper I trust texted me 2 baseball prop bets. They split, so it kind of just evened out. But so I did get the Max Fried under 4.5 strikeouts. Sue with the 333 super chat. Thank you so much, Sue. Dave Wolf still stuck at 71. Yeah, we'll have to get him there. 29 more followers for Dave Wolf. Dave Wolf 88 on Twitter. If he has 100 subscribers, he has to start tweeting out stuff, and I guarantee he'll have some very interesting things to say. He might get in trouble, but follow Dave Wolf 88 for future shenanigans on Twitter. So
lots of shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks so much, Lou. I'm sure he'll be on the election night episode that we have planned. And it's about a month from now, so kind of crazy. All right, Kenny, love doing the show with you as always. We'll be back tomorrow with Andy. He's scheduled to come on after the Thursday night game, so about 15 minutes after the game we'll be on. Then Saturday with Tom. So looking forward to that. We'll be reviewing the picks tomorrow as usual. So hey, good luck, guys, with your fantasy. And once again, thanks for watching. Yes, buy the Money Laundry shirt, please, or any other shirts. And yeah, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a good night.
You the man, Walt.